How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
Eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital.
That's difficult to answer.
this the end? There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? Oh, I'm burning in the dystopia. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the dystopia. This is the final time. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in dystopia. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in dystopia. This is the final
Who the fuck is Karlyn? She's just some sweet lady. She's like in a knitting. She does like a knitting stream. She's like a knitting YouTuber. She does knitting.
Well, tonight she's doing Spy Stream. And when I say Spy Stream, what I mean is we are going inside a live leftist training. And tonight we are watching the Mayday Strong Coalition, which is led by the teachers' unions, the National Education Association, and the American Federation of Teachers. And they are having an organizing call about the Labor Day protest, because Labor Day is, of course, a huge socialist holiday. And we're going to see a lot of people protesting out for Labor Day. I think it's actually going to be a really big protest event because, of course, why wouldn't they? And, of course, those protests, at least some of them, not all of them, but some of them, are led by the teachers' unions. And so we're waiting for the call to start. I do have the Zoom info up. And we are going to be watching. Oh, you joined your local DSA. Oh, how delicious. Everyone should be joining their local DSA. Join your local DSA and then tell me what they say and do and forward me all their stuff, please. That would be pretty great. Anyway, we're going to be watching a call tonight where they're organizing for their Labor Day protest. So you're going to hear directly what the left is doing from themselves. This is a live call. I do not control what they say. I do not control what they do. I don't control that they're late. I don't control if their technology works or not. I don't control any of these things. I will let you guys know that occasionally I do have an issue with my streaming software where sometimes it doesn't let me connect to the Zoom on the first try. So sometimes I do have to turn my browser off and turn it back on again. If I disappear for any reason, I'm going to be right back. No one needs to go anywhere. Just stay where you are if I disappear for a second, because I may need to restart my browser. I might not. I can never tell when it's going to do it. So hopefully that won't happen tonight. But we are going to be seeing a star-studded lineup of speakers tonight, and we're going to talk about what they're doing. As a reminder, if you want to support the work I'm doing, the very best way to do so is by becoming a member on my Substack. That is Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. Sign over there to become a member for $8 a month, $80 a year. You guys keep me completely independent. I do not work for any political organization. I do not shill any political narrative. My only job is to show up and tell the truth and show you guys what's going on with video evidence almost all the time. If not video evidence, some other form of evidence, obviously. But if you want to keep me independent, you got to fund the work I'm doing. I'm an independent journalist. So make sure you're signed up on the Substack for $8 a month, $80 a year. That would be really, really, really great. And we are just waiting for this call to get started. Hope everyone's having a good night. The call should start any minute. As a reminder, guys, we do have a new YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/@decode the left. And we have this channel because we are setting it up for like clips and stuff like that. So if you would be so kind as to subscribe to this YouTube channel, it's got a lot of great clips. Reagan is really taking the lead on this. Reagan does a ton of great clips of my work. She puts together, she makes them all fun and fancy and all that stuff. And so when I do a clip, it's boring. I basically just put, here is the clip and here is what this guy said. But Reagan does all sorts of editing and stuff like that. So she makes clips really fun. Lots of great clips on the channel to catch up on. I just put up a bunch of them last night. Reagan had loaded them into the channel. And so I recommend people definitely subscribe to the Decode the Left YouTube channel if you want clips of my work. And we'll build up that as well. And so people can subscribe over there. People are always asking me for clips. Well, guess what? You got a clip channel now. No one can ever say I never make clips again. I'll be like, people come on in my stream, they're like, Karlyn, I can't watch socialism for 4 hours. And I can be like, oh, but are you subscribed to the clip channel? Because now we have a clip channel. Yes, I do see the super chat. Actually, average person, I apologize. All right, just got to get it out of my way. Oh my God, why does she look like that? Where's her eyebrow? This sounds weird. This lady needs to put on makeup. Yes, the one eyebrow lady is going to be there tonight. Indeed. Thanks, average person, for reminding me. Ah, Big Sammy over on Rumble. I'm not touching that one, but thank you. Thank you. Oh, you put the, everyone's doing the paper clips? Everyone's doing, you guys are all, wow. Everyone's obsessed with Clippy. Wow. Okay, we should be getting started anytime now. Just waiting for them to, they have started the webinar. They haven't started it. They're in it. I can see that. They just haven't let us in the webinar room yet. So we are waiting to be let in the webinar room by the teachers unions. Everyone make sure you mount the like button. Of course, I will not be doing commentary over the training because this is my recording too. But we can make our comments in the chat. I highly encourage you guys to make comments in the chat.
Recording in progress.
I might need to restart. I may need to restart. Hang on, we're gonna give it another try. I may need to restart.
Good evening, good people. We're just giving it a second for you all to get in here and get comfortable.
Okay, I'm
Feel
gonna
free
restart.
to
I will
say
be
hello
right back.
as you're
Don't go
doing
anywhere. I'll
because
be
you
right
know
back.
how we do these mass calls. East Coast. I saw some Tennesseans in
I'm
the
back.
building, so I know the South
I'm
is
back.
here. Texas, Florida, we see you. Maryland, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Ohio, we see y'all. The Midwest is in the building. The Southwest, I saw Santa Fe. Welcome, y'all. We're going to get
Getting the
started
spinning wheel of death.
here
Hang on.
shortly.
No.
Be sure to take this
Chrome just
opportunity to
updated
tell
is
all
what
your
just
friends and
happened.
fam
Chrome
that
just
we are
updated.
live and they should come and join us
Yeah, trying to.
on tonight's Workers Over Billionaires Labor
Trying
Day
to.
2025 National Call.
Boom! Chrome updated. That's
Welcome,
what happened.
friends. We have now
You haven't missed
broken
anything.
over
900 people on
1,000
the call.
participants.
1,000
Y'all are
people on
showing
the
up
call.
and showing
All
out
right, I'm going to
tonight.
shut up.
Welcome, welcome. Good evening, good people. It's such an honor and blessing to see you all here tonight. Thank you for not regarding it as robbery to join us here. Before we get started and I introduce myself and our great speakers for the evening, I want to toss it to our incredible interpretation team to take us through our expectations for language justice and accessibility tonight. Take it away, Vanessa.
Thank you, Ashley. And as you mentioned it, we really want to honor our commitment to language justice. So tonight's webinar will have simultaneous Spanish interpretation. So I will now provide instructions for anyone who will prefer to listen in this language. Buenas noches a todos. Hoy queremos honrar nuestro compromiso con la justicia del lenguaje. Entonces, para las personas que deseen escuchar este webinar en español, por favor sigan estas instrucciones. Para activar la interpretación, tiene que hacer clic en el globo donde dice interpretación, va a estar en la parte inferior derecha de su pantalla, y elija idioma en el que desea escuchar, en este caso español. Recuerde silenciar el audio original, y si usted está conectado en Zoom desde su teléfono, toque los 3 puntos de la esquina derecha inferior donde dice más. Elija interpretación de idiomas, elija el idioma en el que quiere escuchar, en este caso español, y a continuación toque hecho o done. Y también recuerde silenciar el audio original. Gracias. Si tiene alguna duda, nos puede escribir por el chat. Thank you, Ashley. I'll take it back to you.
Can we give it up one time for our incredible interpretation team for making it possible for all of us to be fully present and speaking in the language of our homelands on this call? Thank you so much for being here with us, y'all. My name is Ashley Woodard Henderson, and it is my great honor to be your host for this evening. If you're just joining us, again, I want to remind you that you should introduce yourself. Go into the chat. If you're here on Zoom or if you're watching the live stream on Facebook, I want you to go and comment your name, where you're calling in from. And if you're repping an organization, you can shout them out too. If you're repping a local or a community group, we want to hear from you. Y'all, we're going to get started. We have such an incredible lineup of folks that are going to both tell us the real about what's going on in the world right now, what time it is on the clock of this country from the perspective of the House of Labor, but even more importantly than the assessment, they're going to tell us what we can do collectively together to actually do something about it that makes this world a better place for working people. If you're down for that, if you're interested in that, I think you might have made it to the right call. We're going to spend this time moving you to the action of it all. We're going to explain a little bit about why and how, but we're going to really move to get you signed up to take action with us on Labor Day. So I want you to know that it is time to join our movement. We want you to find an event near you, and if you don't have one near you, I want you to host one. I want you to go to maydaystrong.org to get more information so you can see what others have already planned. We're going to have you sign up for an event tonight. Y'all, there's already almost 500. We want to break that number tonight. I believe that we can do it. We got over 1,000 people on this call. So if you haven't already stepped up to host, I want you to do it. I'm going to give one example right now, in part because I know some of you have been thinking about what's going on in Washington, D.C., the current occupation that's happening in that incredible community of people. And we don't like it. You, like me, are probably mad, concerned, seeing this as another red line stepped over, literally just jumped over by this administration, this evil administration. And I know you want to know what people are doing about it. So one example of a Workers Over Billionaires intervention is that the Metro Labor Council and Free DC, my good friends Nini and Kaya and others, are actually coming together with other labor unions across the DC area to do their first mass mobilization since the occupation with us. They're going to have a Workers Over Billionaires intervention in Washington, D.C. on August 28th. So if you're in D.C. or you have friends in D.C., you can go to Mayday Strong and actually get linked up and go and support folks that are on the ground there. So I just want to let you know, and I will continue to let you know throughout the call, who's showing up and saying that they're going to show out on Labor Day, and where we need some more folks to step up. That's going to be our role tonight. And you're going to hear from incredible speakers that are talking about what they're doing on the ground. I promise we wouldn't let you do that without giving you the tools you need to be able to execute it. So know that when you sign up, we've got a host toolkit made for you. And we also have ways that you can sign up to be partners to get more and more and more information about how you can continue to be a part of this incredible labor movement. Y'all, I'm going to keep talking to you about this later throughout the call, but we have a really incredible special guest. You all know her, so it feels silly to introduce her, but part of the reason you know her is because she's leading a Democratic Federation of 63 national and international unions that represent nearly 15 million working people. She's the first woman to sit in this seat, one of the highest seats in the House of Labor. Y'all give it up for our friend, a people's champion, a workers' champion, Liz Schuler, the president of the AFL-CIO. Liz, I will toss it to you.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much. Ashley, it's so good to see you again. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of tonight, because I just look at all the love in the chat and all the excitement, enthusiasm, and it is contagious. And I just want to say thank you. It's so great to be on this call with y'all and to be in the fight, right? To be in the fight alongside all of you. And I can tell you that as a collective labor movement, fighting corporate power and fighting billionaires is what we do. So we are all in the right place together. And, you know, when we stand together, community of working people, we go up against incredibly powerful companies with massive amounts of money and influence all day long, and we win. That's what we do. But we also know that when it comes to taking on, especially what we're seeing in this moment, you know, the incredible degree to which billionaires and corporate interests are using their power, it takes all of us. It takes all of us together. And that was the main reason I wanted to be on this call tonight. I'm really grateful that we're all here looking at how we work as one and show up for each other in real ways. What we've been seeing these past months, we keep saying it's unprecedented. That word is getting worn out, right? As you mentioned earlier, the scale of attacks on working people and labor, union, if you're not yet in a union, all of the above. Go back to March 28th. Remember that? The executive order that ripped nearly 1 million federal workers of their basic collective bargaining rights. It was the biggest act of union busting in American history. And, you know, keep going on down the line. The attacks on the VA, our veterans and the workers who support them, the ongoing crisis and attacks on our immigrant siblings, or even the Texas Republican redistricting, ripping away the voice and representation of so many working people. You know, the common thread. The common thread is working people's rights, our livelihoods, our ways of life are being attacked. And it's up to all of us to come together and fight back, which is why we're all here tonight. And we want to put a stake in the ground about what workers deserve, which is exactly why that is our theme this Labor Day. It's about bringing working people together. And as you said, Ashley, moving them to action. So the AFL-CIO, as you said, the umbrella of 63 unions, nearly 15 million workers, we've planned, we're not saying Labor Day. This is an entire week of action with events all over the country. And that's why it's important for all of us to be coordinated and collaborating, because we just want to make a huge impact out there across this country. So we're going to drop the link to our map in the chat. We're calling it workerslaborday.org because it's putting workers front and center. It's not the last, you know, mattress sale of the summer. It's workers. And some of those events are going to be big flagship events in major cities. I think we're upwards of, you know, 25 marquee big events in cities that are going to be focused. But you can also see on that map, we're in a bunch of smaller communities. We're in red states, we're in blue states, everywhere. That's the goal. And the whole idea is hundreds of thousands of people coming together at grassroots events close to home, mobilizations, protests, yes, marches, but also trainings, also, you know, picnics, social events, virtual events, street heat, lots of ways to get involved. So we are using the hashtag workers deserve. And we think that's just like no kings, just like hands off. We want to have a clear, simple, unified message across the country. And I think it melds well with what you're talking about tonight. Workers deserve the ability to organize and join a union to fight for a better life. Workers deserve to have a good job with healthcare and equity and opportunity. Workers deserve investments in their communities, strong schools. Workers deserve corporate accountability that reins in outrageous CEO pay and the greed that's making food and housing and basic needs so much more expensive for working families. So all of this being the kickoff to the biggest year of mobilization we've ever had. Let's do this together as one big coalition. We'll be hosting trainings over the next couple of weeks. We'll be hosting a national activist call also on August 28th, which is the Thursday before Labor Day, to really spotlight the biggest fights and the key events to get people fired up. We know you got a huge thing happening. I was talking, I know Randi Weingarten is going to be on tonight, how folks at the labor CTU and the labor movement writ large in Chicago are really getting their plans together, and it's happening all across the country. So everyone on this call, we'd love for you to join that activist call on the 28th of August. Keep the party going. Make it a bigger Labor Day than we've had in recent history, at a time where a unified fight back is needed more than ever. Okay, so let's hit the streets. Let's share events that are local, upload them to the platform. We want them to be as big as possible and send that message that we are not going anywhere. So thank you again for your dedication, your activism. You know, we're in this fight together, and Mayday strong. We appreciate you, and thanks for bringing us together tonight. Back to you, Ashley.
President Schuler, you know we love you. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Y'all show some love to the people's president. A couple of announcements, friends. One, you heard it here from President Schuler first. Randi Weingarten is going to be closing us out tonight, so I promise you want to stay around to the end. Second of all, y'all, we're already at 471 hosted events. And a little birdie told me that we're only missing one state. Y'all know what state it is? It's the state of Nevada. I know somebody here is either from Nevada, in Nevada, or has buddies there. So let's make sure we land that one tonight so we can say that we are turning up literally all across this country. The next thing I want to let you know is that if you are using the chat, when the chat is turned on and on the Zoom, I want you to make sure that you're chatting to all of us, chat to everybody. And if you are watching on Facebook, be sure that you're like inviting your friends, spread the word, tell people you're on the call. We want to make sure that we're reaching as many people as possible tonight. And we're already at 1,500 folks watching. We're going to keep it moving. I'm so excited to pivot us into talking about who are the bad guys, the big bad guys that we're taking on, who are the billionaires. And to do that, I get to toss it to two of my colleagues, Saqib Bhatti, the executive director of Action Center on Race and the Economy and Bargaining for the Common Good, and Vinay Spinoza-Ravi, who's an organizer with the Chicago Teachers Union. Y'all show some love as they come. Saqib and Vinny, I'll turn it to you.
Thanks, Ashley. Good evening, everyone. Excited to be here. My name is Vinay Spinoza-Ravi, organizer with the Chicago Teachers Union. So I'm going to walk through how we're targeting billionaires in Chicago to protect our students. As you'll probably know, Illinois is a blue state with a Democratic supermajority, a Democratic governor, home to some of the wealthiest folks on the planet. And yet our state budgets are cutting and threaten to cut public transportation, healthcare, and education. And we know these are the exact type of austerity cuts that are part of MAGA's endgame. They're the perfect breeding ground for authoritarianism and fascism. That's why we have to defend public goods that working class families depend on to survive. So what we're doing is we're targeting our blue state elites to say loud and clear, you can't just get away with tweets against Trump while being his junior managers to his cuts. We need to Trump-proof our state now, tax the billionaires, fully fund public services. So in early July, shortly after the passage of the big ugly bill, we learned that the wealthiest 5% in our state were getting almost $8 billion in tax cuts back from Trump. And so we held a bake sale, as you'll see here, we held a bake sale for billionaires. We named the 16 wealthiest families in the state. We asked them to help fully fund our schools and to protect our state and to keep the schools open, the train lines running. And we wrote them personal letters. We delivered them in a coalition with healthcare workers, community college professors, transit advocates, public school parents. So it goes without saying, we didn't do any of these things expecting a reply back immediately or at all. But what we did do is it helped us go on the offense. And so part of what we do when we target billionaires is we set the stage for further disruptive actions. We shift the narrative, right? Not just with our members, but also with the local press. We had an answer finally to who's going to pay for all this stuff, right? We pointed to where the money was hiding. It also helped us build a broader coalition by pointing out the common targets that we have, that the targets that we hold in common. And it helped us escalate to build even broader alliances. We're already planning follow-up actions on these billionaires that we named on our cupcakes. And by the way, the price on the cupcake was conveniently the same amount that they were getting back from the federal government. So these are the type of actions that are only the starting point for building up the power necessary to truly impact the pillars holding up the MAGA project. Next slide. So we want to share a toolkit with folks that we used in our actions to pen pal with our billionaires. So you can do it too in 5 easy steps. So there's a QR code. You can download this letter template that will that you can change up for your state, your locale. Step 2, you can make a list of billionaires. Sakib's going to talk about an amazing new website, Class Solidarity, that you can use to build a list in your state and search for corporate and business offices to address these letters to. There is also an amazing report that you can use to find out just exactly how much resources are being gobbled up by these tax cuts by the rich in your state, right? Our estimate was that the top 5% were taking $8 billion away from public schools, from public transit, from healthcare systems. So you can look that up in the report that's linked in the letter. And then personalize the letter, visualize the issues and the constituencies that matter most to the coalitions that you're a part of. For us, it was defending libraries, keeping libraries open, defending bilingual education for Black and Brown students, right? That was what we had to visualize in our letters and our actions. And number 5, make the delivery an action, right? It's a press conference, a delegation to the offices, rallies, picket lines. And the link also includes a sample letter to governors. It just so happens that ours is also a billionaire, but we wanted to add that in case you wanted to go after the billionaires and the political representatives in your state. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Sakib.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sakib Bhatti. I'm the Executive Director of the Action Center on Race and the Economy and Bargaining for the Common Good. It's so good to be here with all of you tonight. So Renee just talked about how those of us in Illinois are taking on billionaires. But like you said, we need people all over the country to make their local billionaires pay so we can start to repair the serious harm that caused our communities. Right? There are nearly 1,000 billionaires in the country with a whopping $6 trillion. And that's still not enough for them. They're pushing elected officials to slash Medicaid, SNAP benefits, and special education funding for schools to fund their tax breaks. We need to claw back money from the billionaire tax breaks. We need to push legislation to tax the shit out of them at the state and local levels. And we need to organize to build the people power necessary to overcome their money. So who are your local billionaires? I want to share this new website that some of our partners just launched, classsolidarity.org. It has profiles of every single billionaire in the country. If you go to the website and then click on Find a Billionaire, which, next slide, please. It takes you to this people's audit page. You scroll down, next slide, please, and you get to the list of billionaires. So you can use the drop-down menu to filter them by state. So fun fact, there's a billionaire there's at least one billionaire in 48 different states, except for Alaska and Delaware. Every single state has a billionaire or 2 or 200 in the case of California. Right? You can also filter them by industry. So here, again, there's a drop-down menu there. This right here is showing the finance industry, which is home to some of the biggest assholes in the world. The goal is to eventually have full audits on every billionaire, but the linked ones are the ones we started with. And so let's look at the ones that are blue, right? So Peter Thiel, let's look at Peter Thiel. He is one of the most evil people in the world, right? And I'm not exaggerating. Thiel heads up Palantir, which specializes in data crunching for evil. Palantir is a key cog in ICE's deportation machine. They have a contract with ICE to target and surveil migrants. ICE uses Palantir data for help with immigration raids. Palantir's AI also powers Israeli drones that are carrying out the genocide in the West Bank, right? Palantir's algorithms, they are helping Israel decide which Palestinian apartment buildings get bombed and which Palestinian families die. That is abhorrent. And this part is super important. Peter Thiel is J.D. Vance's sugar daddy. right? Teal bought Vance his Senate seat in 2022, lifting him out of relative obscurity and turning him into a political heavyweight. So why does it matter that Vance is beholden to Teal? Because Teal has publicly said, I no longer believe that freedom and democracy are compatible. As this website says, he's an apocalyptic accelerationist, which what does that mean, right? It means that he believes in purposely making life as we know it unbearable to break our collective will so that the masses are more willing to accept an authoritarian dictator CEO, right? And that's actually his goal, to turn the country into a corporation run by a dictator CEO. And he's serious about making it happen. So Teal is perhaps the most important player driving the authoritarian agenda. And as we're talking about Labor Day actions, we should seek out opportunities to hit up the offices of Teal's various companies, especially Palantir. And I know we're going to hear from a couple of folks later on who are doing just that. Going back to the websites, if you click on chief ICE officers, you can see the pictures of some of the biggest culprits in the billionaires' war on immigrants. Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, Antonio Gracias from Valor Equity Partners in Chicago, who until just a couple of weeks ago headed up Doge's immigration task force and led Doge's attacks on Social Security. Elon Musk, of course. Further down the screen, we also have Teal and, of course, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, right? And it's not just the chief ICE officers. We also know that Jeff Yass, Pennsylvania's richest man and a major investor in TikTok, is the biggest donor to Trump's super PAC so far this year, and a big proponent of school privatization. Airbnb founder and board member Joe Gebbia is in a leadership role at Doge. If you go to the Take Action page on the website, you can see links for the upcoming Billionaires Week of Action, which Alice is going to talk about next. On Labor Day, we need to take on these billionaires directly. They think they can impose their will on us, but we're not backing down. On Labor Day and beyond, we're going to hold these assholes accountable. We're going to show them what people power looks like and send a clear message that they can't have peace while they're going around lighting fires in our communities. So now we want to do one thing together. So please, everyone, open up a new tab and go to classsolidarity.org. We want you to find a billionaire in your state. And if there isn't one, find one in a nearby state. So if you're in Delaware, find one in Pennsylvania, perhaps. Hint Jeff, yes. Or if there's more than one, pick your favorite and just drop it into the chat. We want to see everyone just, well, who are the billionaires we want to be taking on? So give you a second to do that, and then please start dropping it into the chat. Got Miriam Adelson and Zuckerberg, Jeffrey Yass, Alex Karp, Phil Knight in Oregon from Nike. Yep. These are the people responsible for the attack in our communities, and we need to take them on. We know who the opposition is. Let's go get them. Thank you.
Well, you heard it really plain, right? When we said no kings back in June, we meant no kings from the White House to our bosses, right? We believe that workers should be able to organize in their workplace, and we should build enough power where we're able to withhold our labor to stop authoritarianism, as my good friend Jesse Sharkey often reminds us. So if you're with us, I need you to, again, go to classsolidarity.org. We got 1,600 people, on the call right now, not including our friends that are watching on Facebook and on the live stream. So I need you, all 1,600 of you, to do exactly what Sakib said and go and find you your billionaire bad guy so that we can make sure that we're putting pressure on them so they can't buy our elections and they can't prioritize profit over our people, our communities, our workers, right? So again, go to classsolidarity.org. I want to remind you that throughout the call, we're going to be turning the chat on and off to keep it interactive, but also to give our folks enough time to get to the links, right? We've got 1,600 people in the Zoom chat. When y'all are all talking, it gets really noisy. So we're going to pause it to give you an opportunity to catch these links so you can stay up to date on every single call to action. Some of you have joined because you've been waiting on a directive from the House of Labor. Well, tonight we intend to give it to you. But before we get any further, I would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about why, right? Like what do we need to, why? We know we got to talk about what we have to do and how we're going to do it. But we have to talk a little bit about, why we need to take on the billionaires and not just focus on elected. So I am excited to now introduce you to Alex Hu. She's a New York organizer, a longtime climate change activist, and the current executive director of For Planet. Sorry, excuse me, let me get this right. She is the current executive director for Planet Over Profit. And the next person that I will introduce after her is my dear friend Annette Argiers, the rank and file activist from Massachusetts Teachers Union. Alice, I will toss it to you, my dear.
Thank you, Ashley, and thank you to all 1,600 of y'all that are on here tonight. As Ashley said, I want to talk first a little bit about why it's so important to take on these billionaires. It feels like a million years ago, but it was actually just 7 months ago that we saw Trump get inaugurated. And you all might remember that as he was getting inaugurated, who was sitting right behind him on national television? But all these horsemen of the apocalypse, these tech billionaires. And I think there is no clearer visual symbol than that as to who is really in power in the White House, who is really driving the authoritarian takeover that we're seeing right now, and who are the real people holding the power that we have to confront. I think I also want to shout out all the successes our movement has already had, because sometimes it's really hard to focus on that when there's just such a barrage of bad news all the time. But who here remembers or took part in protests taking place at Tesla showrooms these past few months? Because there were thousands of protests at Tesla showrooms all over the country, taking aim at Elon Musk, the world's richest man and Trump's biggest donor. And over the course of 6 months, Tesla takedown protests successfully managed to tank Elon Musk's net worth at one point by over $100 billion. After Tesla's terrible quarter 1 earnings, they actually had to put in their official every company has to kind of report all their official risk concerns to the SEC. They had to put the protests as an actual official risk to the company, citing them as a key factor why revenue was down. Quarter 2 reports just came out. They said similar things. And we also saw that Elon Musk's political capital tanked as well, right? Who remembers the Wisconsin Supreme Court elections earlier this year? Elon Musk poured a bunch of money into the MAGA candidate, as he's been doing for years. But even though he put so much money into that candidate, Democrats still won. And that's because Elon Musk's money has become politically toxic. We're by no means saying that the fight against Elon Musk is over. He still has massive influence in the government. He just donated, I read, I think $15 million to MAGA candidates just last week. So he's definitely still around. But it is a small shining glimmer of hope in a sea of bad news these past few months to see the impact that we were able to have on the world's richest man. And we also were able to induce him and Trump to have a public falling out, showing that these actions on Trump's closest billionaires may have the power to destabilize the Trump administration, to destabilize this terrible fascist regime. So I wanted to share that because we're obviously not done yet. I know y'all are all on here to talk about Labor Day, but we have also an exciting warm-up round available starting next week. So between August 21st, that's next Thursday, to August 27th, that's the following Wednesday, we are hosting a Billionaires Week of Actions. The QR code that's up right now is something you can scan to find out all of the actions that are currently planned. There's also information on that page. If you want to host your own protests, there's information on the page as to how you can do it. There's also an email address listed on the page. If you have questions about how to find your billionaire, I know we have this amazing classsolidarity.org website, but if you're like, okay, I've zeroed in on Peter Thiel, I've zeroed in on Alex Karp as my target, and I actually want to find out where exactly are his offices, where exactly are his companies based, or so on. We also have an email address in that link that you see in the chat, which you can email, and we have a team that's ready to support you with research and also with advice if you're having questions about how to put on your protests in general. Already up on the page, there's over 10 protests. A lot of them are taking aim at Palantir, which, as Sakib said, is at the heart of all these ICE deportations. Palantir helps ICE locate and kidnap migrants en masse. They're also building a mega database containing everybody's information. So your information, my information, everybody's private information for the Trump administration. So they're a really horrific company, and we encourage you to either find a protest that's already up in your area or host one if there isn't. And again, the link is in the chat. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to see you in the streets next week or on Labor Day.
Hey, everybody. My name's Annetta, as Ashley said. I work at the University of Massachusetts in Boston, and I'm an activist in my union, the Massachusetts Teachers Association. Big shout out to all the educators who are here on the call tonight. Like all of you in Massachusetts, we're feeling the pain and horror of the federal attacks on research grants and advising programs, attacks on essential services like Medicare and SNAP, and direct assaults on our students. While the billionaires try to steal more of our public wealth, my fellow union members who run community-based education programs about nutrition and who advise and support first-time college students are facing losing their livelihoods. But we know we can fight back and we can win. We know this because we've taken on billionaires before in Massachusetts. We took on Seth Klarman, who contributed millions of dark money to a campaign to take funding away from our public schools and to give that money instead to charter schools. Together, public education workers and our allies talked with our neighbors about the threats that this posed to our public education system, and we soundly defeated him at the ballot box. Just a few years ago, that same alliance of workers and community won us a millionaire's tax in Massachusetts, making millionaires finally pay their fair share towards the public services that we all need. In the past 2 years, this tax has produced $6 billion of public funding that has provided direct aid to local public schools. We now have free meals for our children. We're investing in our public transit systems and fixing our roadways. And we're helping to make our community colleges tuition free. These changes haven't just been wins for us as workers. They've benefited our students and families in every single community in Massachusetts. And we keep building our power. Together, we've helped win the release of Marcelo and Rumesa from the clutches of ICE. Together, we've won a commitment from our governor to backfill the cuts made by the billionaires running our federal government. And we're growing our power to win even more. For the first time in Boston's history, we will all be taking to the streets on Labor Day, workers and community together, to demand that we put workers, students, and families over billionaires, and we'll be stronger knowing that all of you will be in the streets with us. See you out there on Labor Day.
If you don't feel fired up yet, I don't know what to tell you, but I am certainly going to try to give you some updates that push us a little bit further into our actions. So before I give you the update on the numbers and places, I want you to notice that there's a QR on the screen. We've been flashing a bunch of QRs at you and dropping a bunch of links in the chat. I promise that this is being recorded and we'll send all the info out so that you have everything you need. I also want to remind you, you can find all of it at maydaystrong.org. But you see this current QR code? I want you to take your phone out. I want you to scan that code, because this is how you're going to also learn more about the Billionaires Week of Action. So get that code. We're going to give you a beat to do that. I know we're racing, giving you a lot of information really quick, in part because we want to keep your energy up. We want to inspire you to get this work done. We're going to give you the information so you know how to do it. So take a moment, take your phone out, go to your app, your camera app, scan this code so that you can get more information about the Billionaires Week of Action. I also want to remind you that if you were chatting with us in the Zoom, some of you are only chatting to the host and panelists. So make sure you click that host and panelist button and switch it to everyone so everybody can see the great commitments that you're making to our Labor Day of action. All right, y'all. I promised I would give you some updates on the numbers, and I promise I will. But first, I want to do some shout outs. I want to shout out Pagosa Springs, Colorado. Y'all have an event on the map now. I want to shout out Charmaine in Lincoln County, New Mexico. Y'all got an event on the map now. And shout out to Eli Fox from Colorado. Looks like Idaho Springs is now on the map. Oh man. Oh, and now since I'm shouting it out, y'all starting to put stuff in. So I'm gonna stop there while you all make your commitments on the map. I also saw a really excellent question that was like, well, if I put one up and somebody already has one up, or I put one up and somebody puts one up after me, what happens? Do we just have competing Labor Day events? Absolutely not. There's an incredible team behind Mayday Strong that is going through and approving the events. And when there are overlapping events in the same place, there's an opportunity for us to connect you so that we can be bigger than the sum of our parts together. So again, go on to maydaystrong.org. I want you to click host an event. And if you, like me, can sometimes feel a little anxious or underprepared to host, if you're like, I don't really know, I've never done it before, or I could do it, but I don't really know if people will show up, whatever. Y'all, we have a toolkit. You will get a toolkit that will walk you step by step through how you host a day of action on Labor Day with us. So I promise you, we wouldn't be calling you into that incredibly sacred work if we weren't going to help support you to be excellent and successful in it. So please go to maydaystrong.org and sign up to host an event. You also can see that we put up another QR code. So you can go to that QR code that is on your screen right now on the slide and host an event. One more link for you is, if it's easier, you can use the bit.ly. It's bit.ly, bit.ly/Labor Day sign up. And if you're like, Ash, I've already signed up, it's cool. What I want you to do is send it to 5 other people that you know in other cities, in other states, red states, blue states, urban, rural. And I want you to ask your folks, organize your team so we can be all across the country. And I promised you we were going to pick on Nevada until they gave us an action, right? Well, I can unabashedly say with great pride that we will now be having Labor Day actions in all 50 states as of this call. We're super excited to have you all here. All right, y'all, let's get back into our incredible speakers. We got 3 leaders that you can trust who are helping workers and communities fight back in this moment. So now we're going to spend some time talking about what that fight back looks like. How do we do this? I get to introduce you to Michael Avant, president of Local 3299 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. Shout out to the Ask Me fam. Y'all, the next speaker after Michael will be Christina Livingston, executive director of the Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment. And last but certainly not least in this instruction about how we do this work is Demarius Allen, executive director of Families for Strong Public Schools in the great state of Florida. Michael, I will toss it to you first.
Thank you, Sibling, for that introduction, and good evening, folks. My name is Michael Avant, and I have the honor of serving as the president of Ask Me 3299. We represent over 40,000 University of California patient care and service workers across the state of California, who is the 3rd largest employer and the largest landlord in the state. However, our members have been without a contract for over a year. And in that year, we have struck 6 times for a total of 8 days due to the unfair labor practice of the university. We are not shy when it comes to walking off the job. We know the punch a strike carries, but it's not a light choice, but it's a necessary choice. And quite honestly, it is the right choice. Through the power of striking, we've been able to win some of the largest, strongest language in the nation against contracting out. We won step increases, we won our pension, and we will, in this upcoming contract, win our housing fight. Now, the strike is something far deeper than just walking off the job. A strike is the living proof of unity, a declaration to the bosses and the public that we are essential and we are unafraid and we know exactly where our power lies. And that power is in labor, the very thing that makes this system runs. But let me tell you this. Power doesn't fall from the sky. Power is built, and it's built through one-on-one conversations that pushes our coworkers to make that tough choice of going on strike, inching us closer to a life-changing contract or staying the same. It's built by mapping our work sites, rising up our leaders who will stand in the gap when the fight gets tough. And it's built by linking arms with our communities. So when we walk, we never walk alone. And right now, this very second, public support for unions is at its highest it's ever been in decades. Our neighbors have our back because they also are dealing with the rents that are just too damn high, crushing healthcare costs, almost bare refrigerators, and short staffing that puts patients at risk. When we go on strike, it's us saying we are not asking for dignity or fairness. We are demanding it. And when tens of thousands of us move together with the clarity and courage, we don't just win better contracts. We rise the bar for every worker. We protect their rights. We build on our rights. We light the fire that inspires all of us to rise up. Striking is the greatest tool working people have. It's why we have built labor rights we have right now, but we have to protect the legacy of our labor ancestors that they already built. But let us be bold in the face of fear, even if our voices shakes. Let us speak up. We must stand together to protect and to keep building. However, I know the fear is real. The fear is real, but the threats are real as well. But our solidarity is real too. So let that be our guide and not the fear. Let's focus on a better tomorrow because we will not back down. Thank you.
First, I just want to give a little shout out to Michael and to Ask Me 3299 here in California. Ace and Ask Me 3299 have been rolling together for a while. So good to see you on the call, brother. My name is Christina Livingston. I am the executive director of the community group ACE in California. And I know there's a lot of Californians on the call. I see y'all in the chat. And I'm here to talk about how community is fighting back. So in California, you all know that Los Angeles was taken over. And for the first week or so, when ICE was in our neighborhoods, kidnapping our members, kidnapping our folks, our neighbors, ACE and many community groups were in response mode. We were showing up where ICE was showing up, and we were trying to document, and we were trying to block the streets and block the cars, and by any means necessary, trying to keep our folks safe. But about a week in, we at ACE decided, it's not going to be sufficient enough for us to be responding to what's happening on the ground. We actually need to be reacting in a way that's going to be a little bit more impactful for our people. So we decided that we were going to show up to Peter Thiel's office in West Los Angeles and basically shut down his operations, let him know that we actually were not going to be okay with Palantir providing specific information about our neighbors, about our friends, about our family members, and going and picking them up. So we took over his office, we took over the streets, we shut down the area. 13 of us got arrested that day. I got arrested that day. Our court date is tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, what we realized and what we recognized is that what was happening to us in Los Angeles is not just, you know, a coincidence. Obviously, that was something that was coming at us because they wanted to take us down. But who was the they? Who is it trying to take us down? There are billionaires pushing a billionaires first agenda. And actually, Saqib, there are not 200 billionaires in California. There are 186. And if it were up to me, we would pass policies so that there would be 0 billionaires in California, because billionaires are a policy failure. So what we need to be doing is recognizing that when we stand up together, and we look at if we follow the trail, not just about what's happening to people, but who's pulling the strings, those are the people we need to go after. So in California, we're not just looking for the big billionaires to go after that are, the Palantirs and the Teslas, the folks that are like on everybody's minds, but also who are the particular people in California who are pushing a billionaire's first agenda and keeping us from being able to provide for our folks. So right now, we're building out a campaign. There will be more Palantir actions coming up. There have been more Palantir actions since the one that I was just recently talking about. What's important, though, is that community and labor have to be together on this. Because at ACE, we say la unión hace la fuerza, right? There's strength in the union, but it's not just the union of workers. It's the union of workers and communities together, because we have different strengths. We have different energies, we have different audiences, and we actually all need to be together in order to win against these really strong, well-resourced, but winnable, defeatable opposition that we have up against us. So with that, I will just say, keep standing together, y'all. I know that we now have actions in all 50 of our states, but I'm gonna ask you, let's commit to another one in the city that you're in. Let's commit to another one right in your neighborhood, because all of these politics are local, and all of these actions have to really relate to what we are experiencing. So don't be afraid. Don't be worried. You will get the support you need, but sign up, post an action, and let's build the power that we need to win.
Thank you, Christina. And I love that you said that they are well resourced, but I think it's important for us to remember that we have the most important resource. We have the people on our side. My name is Damaris Allen, and I'm the executive director of Families for Strong Public Schools. I am a mom in Florida, home of 113 billionaires, and also the place where we privatized education, second in the nation to fully have universal vouchers. And I want to talk to you about public education. It's a thing that I am incredibly passionate about, both as a mom and a resident of Florida who has seen opportunity after opportunity stripped away from students because of billionaires' desire to be richer or to get a little bit cheaper education for their kids at a private school. Right now, Congress is looking at the education budget, and they are looking at horrible cuts that will be devastating to states like mine, who depend heavily on on funding from the federal government. In the chat, you're going to see a link to a resource from Education Law Center and NYU Metro that allows you to see how much your county or your school district is going to lose if these cuts move forward. But this fight is winnable. And we know this is true because we saw what happened with the impoundment of the education fees. We saw that we were able to claw the impoundment back. We saw what happened as they proposed a federal tax credit voucher in the reconciliation package. And while we weren't able to completely defeat it, it is not nearly as bad as what was originally proposed. But in order to defeat this, we need your help. Also in the chat, there's going to be dropped a link to Eros Documents, that's Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools. They put together a wonderful toolkit so you can easily call your member of Congress while they're home on recess. So you can stop by and visit their office. So you can send them emails. And then also, we in Florida have created a second toolkit that is easy for you to tack onto whatever you're doing for May Day. It is 7 days of collective action leading up to May Day that you can just simply post on social media or share with your followers to make sure that they are engaging, saying enough is enough. Dollars equal opportunities for our students, and we are tired of you taking away these opportunities from them. We don't mean this to be an extra heavy lift. This is an easy win that we can get if we can all come together and join in this fight. Because when we fight, we win. And we can win this for kids. Thanks.
Y'all, give it up one time for Michael, Christina, and Demarius. Y'all, Christina said billionaires are policy failure, yo. It's a bar. We heard so many golden nuggets, y'all, about why billionaires are bad guys and what we can do about it. Y'all, we're going to jump into our next speaker because I know she's busy and has another speaking engagement tonight. So the next person that I'm excited to bring up to talk to you all is Jessica Lapointe, president of the American Federation of Government Employees Council 220. Thank you, Jessica, for being here. I'll toss it to you.
Okay, hi everybody. Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I had to step out. I'm running two Zoom organizing meetings simultaneously. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Lapointe. I am AFGE Council 220 president, representing 25,000 workers at Social Security Administration right now on the front lines. Thank you for all the hearts and the thumbs up. We are going through it, as you all are. There is a concerted, as you know, as you probably read in the media, there is a concerted attack on organized labor. And AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees, is at the tip of that iceberg. They're coming for us now, the federal unions, and then they're going to come for you all, right? That is this billionaire agenda plan. The unions are getting in the way of their plan. So to respond to the seriousness of the moment, we need the biggest and baddest Labor Day turnout in the history of this country. That's right. We have to take on this billionaire regime. We have to build our power and our infrastructure and our vision to make sure that our vision works for working America, so that they know that they have messed with the wrong American working class. So that's what we got to do. We have to ensure that our rights are protected. That includes the right to work under healthy conditions on the job. That includes a right to a dignified and fair retirement. Okay, that's your retirement, and Social Security is part of your retirement. They want to take that too. It's like they want it all, and they want to leave us with nothing, and it's happening. The Social Security Administration right now is being dismantled from within. The workers are living it. We're feeling it. We just went through the biggest staffing cut in the agency's 90-year rich history, to where people can't get through to their local offices. There's not enough staff. We are being oppressed on the job. Our rights are being taken away, and our contracts are being taken away. It happened at the VA. It happened at the EPA, the USCIS, and they are coming for Social Security next. So once our contract is taken away, we, the workers, we're Social Security workers strong. We're not giving up this fight. We work for the American people. We administer your Social Security benefits. They will have to pry it out of our cold grip. We are standing strong. If our contract goes away, we'll just do the work on nights and weekends. We will figure it out. We will get through this, but we need you. Like, we have had your back and this country's back for almost a century now. We need the labor movement to have our back right now, because first they come for the unions, and then they come for the programs that we administer, and they're coming for the working class. So we got to get out there this Labor Day. We got to make our voices heard. This is our no fear agenda. This is for the working people like you and I that deserve to retire in dignity, because we've earned it and we've contributed to the collective success of this nation. Therefore, we got to rise up, y'all. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Let's do this.
Let's do this, Jessica. We're sending you so much love. Thank you for being here. We know you're so busy, and thank you for all the federal employees that you represent. We're so grateful that y'all are on with us tonight. Y'all, we are now at 481 events on Labor Day. We're so close to the 500 mark, and I know we can hit it and beat it before I close my eyes on this world tonight. So let's be sure to do it. If you have not yet scanned the QR code on the screen and offered to host a Labor Day event, there is none too small and there's certainly none too large. I want you to scan that QR code. You can go to the bit.ly link at the bottom, bit.ly, bit.ly/Labor Day sign up. And you can share out maydaystrong.org all over your group chats, all over your email lists, all over your social media accounts. Please join us by being one in the number that steps into leadership in this moment. I want a national strike just as much as the next girl that came out of labor. But what I know is if we can't mobilize together, we'll never be able to sustain a national strike together. This is an opportunity for us to build momentum, to see each other, to show solidarity in action, and let this regime and the billionaires who fund them know that we will not sit idly by as workers, as labor, and let this happen. This is our moment to start to build the momentum to what could be history-changing, paradigm-shifting, ideology-sinking opportunities for our people, y'all, that is led by working-class folks. So if you, like me, want to see that day come, this is where we're going. This is like building on the legacy of our elders and ancestors. This is our generational opportunity to say enough is enough and build the momentum that gets us to a place where we never have to have this kind of fight again. I know you want to do that. So I need you to sign up to host one of these events. We've made it to all 50 states, but that does not mean we have reached every worker that we could get a hold of if we would actually put out this beacon, this symbol of an action on Labor Day that allows them to come to us, join up in our movement, and then be bigger than the sum of our parts together. That's what solidarity looks like in practice. And if you're like, yo, Ashley, I'm not in a union. I didn't say you had to be in a union to host a May Day event. So if you're here representing a community organization or you're just an individually concerned resident of the United States, I still want you to click that link. I still want you to scan that QR code. I want you to join in on this movement. Let's be bigger than No Kings. Absolutely. Let's be bigger than we've ever been. And let's sink this authoritarian ship once and for all. I can't wait to be one in the number with you. Y'all, now I have two more great examples of folks that are taking on the billionaires. I get to introduce you to Rigo Valdez, organizing director of MLK Labor, and Vincent Vertuccio of Our Revolution. Rigo, I'll toss it to you first.
Thank you, Ashley. MLK Labor is the AFL-CIO Central Labor Council in the Seattle area, and we're made up of 150 local unions and have 220,000 members who are workers that run everything in Seattle. This year, for the first time in our recent history, we are pivoting from our Labor Day picnic to an action demanding that billionaires stop trying to take over our democracy. I am so proud of our local labor movement for making that timely and courageous decision. Palantir is a tech demon that works with ICE and the Israeli government, and whose co-founder, Peter Thiel, is worth an estimated $26.6 billion. Their AI provides sensitive, accurate information that has resulted in targeted drone strikes and arrests, and they're working on their biggest surveillance system yet. And we have no way of knowing what data they have on us already. For all that we know, we could be surveilled by them right now. And they have an office right in our backyard, in the tech neighborhood in Seattle. So we are uniting with our community groups, Indivisible Seattle, the Washington Immigrant Rights Solidarity Network, One America, La Resistencia, Jewish Voices for Peace, just to name a few, to join together to host our action. Our goal is to have at least 1,000 workers march to Palantir's office to protest their complicity in kidnapping our neighbors, in their war crimes, and on their ongoing investment in the Trump administration's most inhumane policies. At MLK Labor, we intend to meet the moment, and we're asking our siblings at other regional labor movements to do the same, to pivot our traditional picnics and to go after those people that are going after us, to stand with our local allies, to create coalitions, to stand up for workers over billionaires, and to stand up for people over wars. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Vincent Bertuccio with Our Revolution. So incredible to see so many people on this call. It's a terrifying moment that we're in, and Our Revolution is a community of people founded by Senator Bernie Sanders who understand that Trump is a creation of the oligarchy and that to defeat Trumpism, to defeat fascism, to defeat the brown shirts who are in the streets of Washington where I sit right now, we need to challenge the oligarchy and the billionaires at every step of the way, and then we need to defund and dismantle the oligarchy that rules this country. So why I'm on this call is to talk to you about an action that we're doing with many incredible coalitional partners in the Hamptons this month. The Hamptons, New York. This is an enclave of the ultra-wealthy, the global transnational oligarchs who rule the world. This is an isolated place about 60, 70 miles from New York City where they go to be their worst selves. This is a place that is hard for us to get to as the working class, and that is why the billionaire class goes there, because they don't want to see us in their day-to-day lives. They only want us to serve them. And this is where they go to be their worst without any public accountability. And that is why we are going to their doorsteps to challenge them. So at the end of this month, Our Revolution members from across New York and the country, as well as members of other incredible groups like New York Communities for Change and Planet Over Profit and countless others, are converging on the Hamptons to challenge the power of the oligarchs who call that place home in the summer. We are going to be taking the fight directly to their doorsteps, literally on places like Billionaires Row, one of the most dramatic examples of inequality in our country, a street that is occupied almost entirely by billionaires. We are going to be taking it to their elite restaurants, their country clubs, everywhere that they gather. We're going to be taking it to their galas and their fundraisers for corporate candidates. We are going to be making sure that the working class that they go to the Hamptons to escape is heard loud and clear in what is no longer going to be their exclusive enclave. And so on the 31st, we are calling on folks in New York City, on Long Island, and from across the country. You can get there to join us for a big march directly to the doorsteps of the billionaires. We really encourage you to come to join us. These actions are key. And you taking action in your own community is key against the billionaires and the oligarchs, because one, we need to build a movement, a unified movement of the working class to challenge the oligarchy that is screwing us all over. And actions like the ones that you're going to be organizing in your community are the entry point for folks to join this movement. And not only are they an entry point and a chance to get organized, but they are also an opportunity to directly hold accountable those who are fucking us over in this country. And that's the oligarchs, because the last thing that a billionaire wants is to be put in the sunlight, to be given attention, to have their crimes made clear, to be held accountable where they want to have a good face. And that is what a demonstration that names and shames the people who are tearing our country to shreds does. So organize something in your community, join the coalition, be part of this movement, bring the fight to their doorsteps, and we at Our Revolution will be with you every step of the way. Thank you so much.
We'll see you in the streets, Vincent. Thanks for being here. Y'all, I feel inspired. I feel ready to mess them up. I saw Ivy in the chat saying, why do we have billionaires? Why do they need so much money? They don't need so much money. They're just prioritizing the consolidation of their own power and wealth at the expense of all the rest of us. Labor Day is going to be a time where they see us say never again, not anymore, not on our watch. Y'all be sure to sign up to host an event. We are steady moving and close to closing, y'all. I know You've been holding on for an hour. We have some really exciting things coming, so I want you to stay tuned. We are now over 480 events across the country, y'all. Thank you so much. We still want to keep going. I'd love again to hit 500 before I go to sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow. So y'all come on in the room and say you'll host an event. I am so excited to bring up next a labor leader to tell you more about what they're doing on the streets for Labor Day. Bob, I'm tossing it to you. The president of the Chicago Federation of Labor is with us tonight, y'all. Show some love.
Thanks, Ash. My name's Bob Ryder. I'm president of the Chicago Federation of Labor. The CFL represents 300 unions that represent 500,000 working people in the hometown of the American labor movement, Chicago, Illinois. And I have to tell you, what we have planned for Labor Day in Chicago is going to rock the city. You know, going back to our action that we did in early April, to the May Day rallies that we did in Chicago, we're talking about tens of thousands of people standing up to the American oligarchy that Donald Trump sits on top of. And what I am excited about is the fact that we are going to have our communities, our labor movement, which encompasses everyone who puts their boots on every day, who goes to work to provide for their families, are going to be standing up. We're going to be doing it in Chicago because we don't know how to do it any other way. But I am excited about the movement around this Labor Day. Labor Day is going to be a guidepost in our journey to fight back against Donald Trump. And we need to make sure that the people's voices are heard and that we stand together in solidarity. But we're not here to resist. We're here to be on our front foot, fighting forward. And that is the biggest thing we need to do on Labor Day, is make sure that we communicate the message that this country is taking the streets back for itself. I was with Texas Democrats earlier today, standing with the patriots who are trying to protect our democracy in Texas by doing an act of civil disobedience, coming up to Illinois and Chicago. We need to lead by their example. We need to make sure that we are strong, that our resolve is strong, and we're going to do it on Labor Day. So I am excited to be here in community with all of you. Let's go win.
Bob, I have faith that we can win because of the incredible work you and leaders like you are doing on the ground in Chicago. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your commitment to our Labor Day movement. All right, y'all, look, I promised you that we were going to have a powerhouse close before we wrapped up this call. And for the over 1,000 of you that are still with us, not even including all of you that are watching on streams, we're so grateful to invite the president of the American Federation of Teachers, the 1.8 million member union. 1.8. We're so excited to have you, Randi Weingarten. Come on in the room.
Hey, Ash, can you hear me? Can you
We
see
can
me?
hear you. We see you. You look great.
So, first off, it's been so great to listen to a bunch of this call. I am out of town right now, so I'm not in my normal spot at this moment. But let me just say this. These actions and this moment, and if you listen to the last several speakers of what we're trying to do all across the country, this is about workers showing up and working. The picnics are really important. The parades are really important. But this is about demanding what workers deserve all across the country and demanding that this inequality that we see and this lying that we see, this, whether one voted for this administration or not, this administration all the time talks about how important workers are. Please, you have to walk that walk. You can't just talk that talk. And what they're doing is not only lying about what they're doing, but they are making it harder and harder for people. If you look at that big ugly bill, if you look at the actions to try to emasculate labor's rights, end the Department of Education, undermine collective bargaining, they're taking away the kinds of things that workers and working families need in order to have a better life. And for what? To give it to more billionaires so there could be more and more income inequality. There could be more and more of this huge widening gap. And if workers are not out there this Labor Day saying, wait a second, I work hard for a living. I am entitled to a decent wage. I'm entitled to decent health care. I'm entitled to decent retirement security. Stop with the divisiveness. The affordability agenda has to be there. The opportunity agenda has to be there. The dignity agenda has to be there. But it can't just be what we had. And I'm glad I'm going to be in Chicago, because of Haymarket so many years ago. Sorry, I am a social studies teacher. It has to be about what we deserve and demand now. So this Labor Day is really different because it's not just labor unions, as important as we may be to the workers we represent. It has to be all workers and all working families saying enough. That's why when Ash says we need so many events, we need to get beyond 500. We need to show the country that workers united will never be defeated or divided. And we need to show the country that we, workers of the country, have a right to the bounty of this country. And that's what this Labor Day is. We need to show that workers of the country have to have a voice. We need to show that this administration can't be about disappearing people. This administration needs to be dedicated to actually giving workers rights, whoever they are. And that means being on the street, because if we're not on the street, we're not going to be heard. Not by the billionaire class, not by authoritarians. We know this. We know this from history. We know this from what just happened in South Korea. We know this from what happened on No King's Day. We have to be out on the streets. We have to be out there together in an economic message about what workers and working families deserve. It's time for all of us, not just those in a labor movement. That's why the labor movement is so dedicated this year to helping every worker, not just those we represent, not just those we serve, but those who every single day work so hard for everyone else. That's what this Labor Day is about. That's why we can't sit it out. And that's why I'm honored to be part of all of our collective movements to say workers and working families deserve the bounty of this country, not just the billionaires, not just those whose families happen to inherit that wealth. We need to make sure every worker is entitled to a decent life. Thank you. Can't wait to be I'm going to be in Chicago that Monday. I'm going to be in San Francisco the Friday before. I'm going to be in Houston that Saturday. My union, all of us, teachers all across the country, nurses all across the country are going to be out there fighting for each other. Work, not wealth, should be rewarded in this country. That is what this Labor Day is about. Thanks, Ash.
Randi, I love you. We love you. Thank you for being here. Can we show some incredible, energizing, and inspiring love to Randi Weingarten, y'all? One of the hardest working laborers in the country. We want to make sure that we're sending our leadership off of this call with all of the solidarity that we know is going to be required as she takes hits for us. So y'all show some love in the chat. Y'all show some love with the reactions to our leader, Randi Weingarten. Thank you for being here, Randi. Y'all, we have been on this call for over an hour, and yet there is still more work to do, but we have come to the end of our speakers list. I'm so excited to tell you that we are now, well, let me tell you, it's been a couple of minutes, so it might be an old number, but we have we have hit almost 490 events. I still believe that the 1,000 of us that have watched can make the commitment. And look, again, I get it. It's a lot of pressure. It feels like we're making a big ask. But really, what I'm asking you to do is get your crew of neighbors and friends to show up and show out on Labor Day. And what I know is that because when you register for to host an event, you actually get a toolkit that helps you do it, that and you get access to a map that folks can then find you on, that it will be bigger than the sum of its parts, just because you you were vulnerable, you stepped into courage in this moment to say, I'm willing to be one in the number that leads one of these events. Y'all, there's so many tools at your disposal. You can see them on the slide. You can go to maydaystrong.org. You can sign your organization up as a partner. You can download the host toolkit, and you can sign up for the August 28th mass call for building the strongest Labor Day ever seen in our lifetime, and maybe ever in the history of this country. I know we can do it. I know that we can be the sand in the gears of this corrupt administration and the billionaire minions that fund them. I know that we can block the harms that they're doing to workers in our communities, the people that we love and live with. And we can build a labor movement that prioritizes our people over their minority profit. It's our season, y'all. We were born to do this. I am excited about doing this sacred work with you, about rising in courage with every single one of you that made time for this call tonight. And I'm even more excited to get to the finish line and be winning with you, governing with you, controlling our workplaces with you. It is our season to see it done. The assessment of what's going on in the world and in this country is really stark, and it's really dark, and people are suffering. But there has never been more of an opportunity for us to come together across our differences, to be bigger than the sum of our parts, build the labor movement of our dreams, build the movement that will stop this authoritarian regime in its tracks and all the harms that they intend on our workers. I intend to be there with you, and I'm excited to see you all out and about on Labor Day. Y'all have a great night.
So close to being done the side of my shawl, it's not even funny. All right. Well, that was the organizing call for tonight. Hang on one sec. Let me just bring up another browser window here. We can do a little bit of a debrief. I'm going to be honest. I mean, it's kind of like you get desensitized to this stuff after a while. There wasn't a whole lot of interesting information on the call that I didn't already know. But like the thing of it is, oh shit. Okay. The thing of it is, and what I really want people to understand is, I think the biggest takeaway from me for that call was just the overwhelming activation of the unions. And a problem that I've been thinking about quite a bit is I never realized how many unions there are in the country. There are an absurd amount of unions. And I just never really thought about it because I don't think I've ever actually been in a union. I think like I worked in places that had unions, obviously, but I've never been in a union. I didn't realize how many of them there were. And I kind of like my position is that I think that there need to be congressional hearings into the political organizing activities of the unions, especially when it comes to federal workers. I think that was actually one of the best things on the call. I was taking notes the entire time. That was one of the best things on the call was the woman who is organizing in the Social Security Administration, talking about like organizing the workforce to protest the government. Like, bitch, you are the government. You are the government. Literally. You're the fucking government. So why are we talking about organizing to protest the government? Like, it is your job to do the will of the American people, and they don't want to do that. And I think, one of the things they kind of let slip in that is they see themselves as representing everyone. So what does that mean in this context? They're representing everyone. Well, it means that they're basically saying we're going to do this to you because it's for your own good and there ain't shit you can do about it. So they really believe that they are representing people, even the ones that don't support what they're doing, because they're going to do it because it's for your own good, okay? So does everyone understand that? That's the problem that we're dealing with. So we will certainly be keeping an eye on this, and we will be going to their next organizing call and all that. And, you know, we'll see how big this is. I think Labor Day is going to be another big protest, if I'm being honest about it. I think, will it be as big as the No Kings protest? I don't know. But I mean, there are a bunch of different calls going on for Labor Day organizing. And so I absolutely think that it could be very big. And so we have to keep an eye on it and we'll see where it goes. And I think that the teachers unions are going to be front and center on this one, because that's always the way it goes. I want to acknowledge a couple super chats from Maria. Thank you, Maria. FYI, it is impossible to be an NYC teacher and not to be in the teachers union. That's the same way with most teachers, I think. Same reason I'm in an actors union. I literally can't go to calls or receive audition notices if I don't pay dues. Yeah, I mean, listen, we talk a lot about all unions being socialists, but like the fact is that not everyone in a union is a socialist, but they force people to be in the unions. Otherwise, they can't work. But all unions are run by socialists, which we're now seeing. Maria also says, I also think it's very upsetting that you can't have a voice in the arts without joining and paying dues. That is very upsetting. I remember when I worked for a college, one of the colleges I worked for, I won't name it because I'm just not going to. But one of the colleges I worked for, they basically, like, you had to be in the union if you were an employee at a certain level. Like, you were just automatically put in the union. I was a professional employee, so I wasn't automatically put in the union. But if you had a certain kind of classification, it didn't really matter if you wanted to be in the union or not. You were in the union. And so I think it's really unfair, but it's also brilliant on the part of the left, right? It's brilliant to say you have to be part of our cultist organizing bullshit, and you know, that's part of how the unions have gotten so powerful in the first place. So, guys, that is what we have for tonight. So I want to thank everyone for stopping by for Spy Stream. I do appreciate it. If you want to support the work I'm doing, head over to the Substack. That is Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. Sign up for $8 a month, $80 a year. We're going to be having a lot of organizing calls coming up. I'm going to tell you because so we've had kind of so in some respects, the summer has been really busy. In some respects, it's been a little bit slow. And the reason it's been a little bit slow is colleges haven't been in session. But guess what's about to happen? We're almost at the end of August. People are going back to college. And so I fully expect one of the places I really want to keep an eye out on is colleges and universities and all those weird centers and stuff like that. They're going to be having a whole bunch of yearly kickoff stuff and crazy stuff going on. So we need to really keep an eye out for stuff going on at colleges and universities coming up over the next month or so, because I think there's going to be a lot of really crazy stuff and we want to make sure we watch as much of it as possible. If you ever see a presentation that you think would be a good thing to spy stream, let me know. Most of the stuff I stream is free. Sometimes I pay to stream it. Sometimes we get into events that we're really not supposed to be in and we record some crazy, crazy shit. So keep an eye out for events. These things happen all the time. It could be colleges and universities. It could be a community organization. It could be a local thing. You just never know. So keep an eye out on what's going on around you. Let me know if there's anything you think we should spy stream out to the group. We can also do supporter exclusive spy streams, so we're not necessarily doing it publicly on the internet. And of course, your identity will never be outed if you send me information. People send me information all the time. They want me to keep their identity private. I totally understand. Don't worry. I'll do it. All right, guys. That's all we have for tonight. I will be back tomorrow for happy hour on Friday, and we will watch something fun, and we'll drink some beer, and we'll have a good old time. But I appreciate everyone coming out. I appreciate the people who are supporting my work, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you? not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.